great to see you. Look at me, scruff of the day. Once again, it's misty morsty outside, so we're inside with the rocks, which is such a sad thing. I mean, really, who has a problem with being in rocks? I don't. This is what we're starting with today. No, I don't know what it is, and my crystal rockhound geologist wisdom friend does not know either. It's a fabulous thing. Hello, Linda. Morning. Hi, Heather. Here's the mystery rock. This is a piece of New Zealand. Clearly, it's sedimentary because it's grown in layers. But you can see something else is happening to it because it's forming these vertical crystals. We think it's probably in between one thing and another, but we don't know. However, it's fabulous. And look, this is a natural termination, right? Looks natural and normal. And so is this. So how did that grow? No idea. Maybe it was part of a limestone cave system. In fact, this is most likely because it sort of looks like limestone or marble or something in between. And the water eroded both sides, and this was kind of a seam of something that had water eroding, and that's why you've got two natural ends, and yet it's something that looks like it's grown in layers. Nobody knows, but it's lovely. And so there it is, a piece of New Zealand. Unknown mystery, something to enjoy. And next, we have orange calcite, right? This is really gorgeous. And of course, it's a Merkaba. I just, look at it. Oh, look at all its interesting, unusual, not perfect bits and how wonderful they are to enjoy. We don't need everything to be perfect. Good morning, everyone who is coming on. I can see you popping up, but Facebook hasn't told me who you are yet. It is fabulous to have you here. So, we're just enjoying a few rocks while everybody sort of arrives, and if we're going to have any early bumps in the stream of the internet, well, now's the time to have them, before we're doing anything important. Steph, it's great to see you, gorgeous. Just enjoying a Merkaba. This was given to me by someone I worked with a very long time ago. It seems like a very long time ago. I did something for her, I can't remember what, and she gave me this. So there you go, it's lovely. Now, this one very definitely came into my mind when I was choosing rocks today and said, yeah, fluorite, but this piece. This was actually put in as an extra with something that I bought from somebody. And, I thought, a piece of fluorite. But really, look at it. Clearly, it's multicoloured. It's got that beautiful dark green in the middle and then bands of white and the green. And there's little hints. Are there little hints of purple? Yeah. Not really. It's pretty much green and white and sort of, the darker green and the lighter green. It's fabulous, and I'm just really fond of it. So I just love, and today the light's not bright out there, despite the fact that it's reflecting off my face. So it's perfect for showing off on a day like this where there's not actually that much light outside. And then it's got to come in the window, So there you go. Those are our rocks today. And today we are just carrying on exactly where we left off yesterday, because we were talking about opening to love, right, and letting love in. And I can't remember if I mentioned the surrender word yesterday, but really that's what today seems to be about for me. I did a lot of just letting go and letting in this morning when I was in the field. In my meditation, in case anybody wonders what the hell I'm talking about when I say the field. That's another long story. Terminology. It's so easy to start using words that people think, what the hell are you talking about? But that's what I mean. When I'm in meditation, I go into the unified field and amazing shit happens. It's great. So we've been talking about opening your heart. And yesterday, we actually practiced a little bit opening your heart. And opening your heart, if your heart has been closed, which we do to protect ourselves, and if you look at the comments from yesterday, people were talking about that, and it's absolutely what you have to do. If you're under threat, if people are being mean to you, if you can't control nasty things that are happening to you, you're going to close your heart, right? And it's a protective mechanism. It's not actually that good for you long term, but it is a protective mechanism. And so it can take a lot of practice to open your heart again. Yeah, I bet it has been, Linda, because you've had to let go of a lot, right? And this is kind of a little bit a little bit completely related to what I'm talking about today. Because I was thinking about letting in love, right? And, we're all about giving and being generous and being kind and helping people, which is great. But we kind of forget about receiving. And, if you're having a lackful experience in life, or you want to let love into your life, or you want to let abundance into your life, because it's actually all the same stuff, just a different facet on the crystal, right? You have to be willing to receive. It can't come to you if you're not willing to receive. So, and to become willing to receive, you actually have to become willing to be abundant. And while you might think, oh my God, what are you talking about? It's a no-brainer. Of course I want more money, I want more health, I want more relationship, I want a meaningful work, whatever it is. Those are the big four, but whatever, of course I would. But really? Because if you and I are the creators of our worlds and our lives and everything that happens, really, if I create my reality, the only person that's powerful enough to keep what I desire out of my life is me. So how the feck am I doing it, right? And that's the sort of, okay, Maddie, you say I'm doing it. How am I doing this? I don't want this. I don't want this kind of lack. But then you get into this double bind where you need to be able to receive stuff, but you don't feel safe to receive, and you can't open your heart because you've got to open your heart to receive. So, you're not safe to receive, and so you're constantly in lack, and then you feel more lack, and then you don't feel safe, and, round and round it goes. Really challenging situation. I know what this is like. So, where am I going with all this? So, if you want to receive, you have to be willing to be abundant. And the thing is that we often have a great deal of resistance, actually, to being abundant. And we talked a little bit about that earlier in the week, the common example, which is just so useful. Hi, Sarah, great to see you, and hello to everybody. Facebook has not told me who you are. That, if you've grown up in a family where poverty is the norm, and you want to manifest more money because it would just be nice to be able to pay your bills and help some people and fix some things and, and you actually find when you start to examine your own, or actually you start wanting to become someone else, and as you start moving into becoming that new person, you discover exactly how much resistance you have to becoming more financially wealthy. And quite often people think, if I become more financially wealthy, my family is going to reject me. And it's happened, and we've all read the stories about it, I became wealthy and suddenly they didn't know what to do with me, and they were angry because I wasn't the same as them anymore. And, this is synchronicity, right? I was on the yoga mat yesterday listening to Dr. Joe, one of the sessions in the online workshops that I've been doing. And he was saying, and he sets this up for people. Tanya, lovely to see you, honey. He says, look, when you start to become somebody else, when you start to imagine who you want to be, when you start to try and live who you want to be, you start to embody, you start to think, I need to feel differently, I need to think differently. You're going to come up against everything in you that's not like that. You are going to hit your resistance, and I want you to. Because you're not going to become the new person that you want to be until you come up against the old person that you are. So it's like, he's actually setting people up to, nose against the glass, right? I can't see it, but here I am. I'm walking on the spot. I can't move forward. It's good. As long as you actually know who you want to be and you've got some tools to move through that part of yourself. So what I wanted to talk about is, like you said, Linda, surrender. We've got to let go of things. But the challenge with that, excuse me, I might sneeze. Itchy nose. Nothing wrong with me. The challenge with that is we often just can't see. Achoo! Oh no, I'm supposed to sneeze into my arm. I'm at home alone. We often can't see who we're being. So it's this bind of how on earth am I keeping this out of my life? And you can analyse it from the situation of, I'm in lack and I don't have what I need and tra-la-la-la-la, but you're never going to find out what the problem is. Hi, Zing Marie! Because you are looking at the challenge that you're in from inside the box of the challenge. And, all you know is how to be inside the challenge, right? That's habitual, that's normal, that's familiar. So when you start to move into a different box, and we've been doing this one way and another. I'm always talking about moving into a different box. And you start to create an imagination of who you want to be and how it will feel and what you're doing and what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're not doing and saying and thinking, yeah? You start doing that. And as you then, you go beyond conceptualizing it, you go beyond thinking about it to actually wanting to do it. And that's part of the process, you think about something, you move it into action, and then eventually, like learning an instrument, for example, it becomes part of you and you don't even think about it, you just pick the thing up and play, right? From thinking to doing to being. That's what we're doing. From student to initiate, you initiate it when you actually take action, and then to master. This is the process we're in. But if you just keep thinking about it from thinking, I want this problem, and you never start to imagine who you're going to be and what that's like and how you would behave differently and, all of that stuff that I keep rabbiting on about, because I'm practicing this myself, by the way, really, totally. This is my life. I do this now. Then you're never going to come up against yourself, right? You can't come up against yourself until you start to move into the unknown. We're also afraid of the empty space. Yeah, we do. Melanie, it's lovely to see you. We do get scared of the unknown. The letting go is actually easier when you've got something to fill the space with, and that's also why it's valuable to think, well, who am I becoming? And then as you decide to be that person and live that state of being and everything, what happens is sometimes really in your face, roaring like a lion, and sometimes very quietly with little sort of that you hardly even notice because you're so used to suppressing it and pushing it away and not noticing, morning, John! Little things, and sometimes big things, come up and say, no, you're not like that. Like I think I told you, I watched a movie with my husband on Tuesday night. Really good movie. But there was a lot of trauma in it, and I won't watch that one again. It kicked up a lot of stuff in me, which is weird because I haven't gone through a lot of obvious trauma in my life, but there was enough for it to resonate with. It sent me into an extremely incoherent state, and I had to do some quite dramatic things to break that state. So sometimes it's really large, and then you deal with it. But yesterday, after I'd had this most amazing meditation, and I told you, it's like, I'm still coming back, I'm really not, and it was beautiful, and I felt so good. And then there was a thing that happened, and this thought came into my mind, and I felt my state shift, and I thought, shit, do I keep entertaining that thought, which is the old me, and I finally see what I've been doing for decades? Was something that I've been sort of looking at. How am I screwing this up? How am I not creating what I desire here? Just like you, it's like, how am I doing this? It's going the wrong way. What am I doing? Because I must be creating this. And I finally caught myself because there was a contrast. I was in this beautiful state of being. And to entertain that thought and let it grow and let the old chemistry and the old state of being, the old way of breathing and, about it, was like, no, I don't want that. I want this. So that was quite a stark contrast for me. But what I think I want to talk about is the bit that happened before that. But for a number of weeks, really. Because I've been I've been putting more intention around this particular thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't matter. But as you start to intend, well, I'm just going to become a happier person, for example. Or I'm going to let go of, whatever. And you start to explore it and think, well, how am I still hanging on to this? I just can't see it. I can't work it out, and that's being inside the box. But you start to imagine who you are without it, which is the really big thing because we've got to surrender our stories and our trauma. I tell you, in the meditation this morning, I was just surrendering. Surrendering. It was, and I could feel all this energy releasing out of my body and tra-la-la. It was really, really lovely. So for the last few weeks, I've just been noticing the thoughts that flit through my brain that I barely notice. But it comes with a feeling, a visceral feeling of, or whatever. And those things that you are so accustomed to that you never notice them, when you start to develop and invest energy into an intention to be someone else, you start to notice them because they're not congruent with who you're choosing to be. And that's when your nose against the mirror seeing yourself, because you've decided you're someone else, and everything in your old self that is not that is then becoming more visible. And that's how you find your resistance when you just can't see it for looking. It's those often, apart from when the tiger roars and the thing comes up and smacks you in the head, it's the little uncomfortablenesses in your gut, in your body, the way that you sort of, about something. And you've just gone, every time for the last 25 years and haven't noticed that you're going, I don't like that. But, I'm not noticing, I'm not paying attention to it. Hang on. And I made a connection about this. This was around the same thing. I made a connection about this just a couple of days ago where a particular action that someone was taking, and I thought that I felt bad about it because of reason A, and I've been feeling bad about it because of reason A for a long time, right? Long time. And this particular day, because I've been really examining myself and observing and paying attention, I looked at it again. I thought, oh my God, that reminds me of something that was really difficult when I was much, much younger. And, my brain had made an association, and it was actually a kinetic visual thing. It wasn't the activity itself. It was just something it reminded me of that was really painful and difficult. And I thought it was the thing, but it wasn't. It was me and my old trauma. And I made the disconnection. It's like, so it's not that. It's not. But I've been putting all my energy into resisting that thing that I thought it was, which of course makes it grow, because what you put your attention on is going to grow. And it was, oh my heavens, it's still that old thing, which I continue to deal with, and then another neural network gets fired up, and then I can go and prune that one apart. So this is how our resistance works for us. But the only way you're going to find it is to be willing to let go of your resistance to letting in love and letting in abundance and letting go of your stories and letting go of your trauma, which sounds like a really stupid idea, because how can I let go of my trauma? It's consumed me. But that's actually what we have to do, and it's a process. And I'll respond to your comment later, Steph, because I can't read it. I'll lose the plot. Tracy, it's great to see you. Yay! Similar vibrations do activate each other. There's a law in the brain, right? I've learned some basic neuroscience. 2 laws of the brain, of how the brain works. The law of association means, and this was the thing, a law of association made this connection for me, but I didn't see how it was working. I misinterpreted it. The law of association means that, right, that was noisy, that's okay. The law of association means that the brain puts things together that are similar in some way. They may not appear to be logically related, but the brain says, that's a sunset, that's a sunset, that's a sunset, that's like a sunset. That is a feeling that's like the time when I was watching that sunset. That's how sand feels under my feet. That's how it is to have a big sky above me. The whole neural net is the whole experience. And then the big sky thing gets hooked up with something else, being out in the bush or feeling spacious in a meditation. The brain associates things that are similar in some way. And that's how you make neural nets, because it puts things together. And that was why I put this thing over here with this thing over here, because there was a visual kinetic thing in common with them, even though the rest of it was not connected. And the other one is the law of repetition, which means that if you do something once, it's going to make a connection. If you do it again and again and again, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And you can see how association and repetition work together. So, when you look at trauma and you have a really powerful experience, the brain grabs all the information from that and associates it and makes a big neural network and says we've got to look out for this because we don't want it to happen again. And then it repeatedly goes looking. So repetition, repetition, repetition. It's looking, it's looking, it's looking. It fires and wires. And you got this whole thing which seems to consume you. The only way really to get out of that is to become somebody else and remodel your brain. And we can do it. Sometimes it's a damn sight harder than others. But the funny thing is that everybody's Mount Everest is their own. And you can look at someone else's Mount Everest, and I did this a lot, right? And say, oh, well, I didn't go through, sexual abuse as a child, and I wasn't abandoned, and I wasn't this and this and this. And yet my own Mount Everest was still my own freaking Mount Everest. So it's kind of silly to say, oh, well, I didn't go through this. It shouldn't be so hard. What the hell? It is hard because whatever it is that you're used to being is really engraved in the architecture of your brain, and then your body's conditioned to it, right? And so we all face the same level of challenge, just about different things. It's not harder or easier. Yeah, well, her ideas are not stronger than yours, but you've had an idea that her ideas are stronger than yours. Not so, Steph. Oh my God, that you've just accepted, believed and surrendered to that, and it's not true. However, you've got to realise there's a kind of superhighway in your mind about that. You can change it. Yeah, the trick is not to compare mountains, but oh my God, how easily we do. Because we have this scale in our minds that says, well, that's bigger than this and this is easier than that. It's like, bullshit. Your experience is you. You are your own universe. And you get to be the stronger voice. When you practice, when you say, okay, that's the box where I was less and I was weaker and I couldn't and I accepted all this because you had to survive. You had to survive, right? But now you get to build a different universe and you get to step out of that. And that's where the surrender comes in, because you have an identity inside the current box and you know who you are and you know what stories you tell. And we are all heavily invested in our identities. We really are. God, I remember how invested I have been in my own. Jasmine, it's great to see you, honey. I'm nearly done, but it's just time to greet you. So I love celebrating you all. It's a deep, deep decision to say, my God, this is the box that I have accepted, believed and surrendered to and into. And it's not the truth of who I am, and I get to create another box and go into that other box instead. It's always going to be a box, but it can be a much nicer box, and then you can make a better box after that. You don't have to stop creating. I mean, you've got to realise you're going to come up against yourself as you go from one box to the other, but the biggest thing is to actually just let go of who you've been. It's surprising. It's really surprising how powerful that is. And you can't force it, you can't insist on it. But it's going to happen if you keep playing with it. Kathleen, I can see your gorgeous roses just come up, and I'm just finishing. The clock tells me I must stop. So Facebook hasn't even told me you're here yet. Amy, same to you, honey. It's great to see you. I got to go. Enjoy the replay. It's Friday. It's been an incredible week. Keep creating. Choose the life that you desire. Furnish the box with amazingness, because that's who you are. Look out for resonant replays. Drop me your questions. I love to respond to your questions in live. Maybe we'll talk about furnishing the box next week. Let's see. So much love to you. Thank you for sharing with me. I'll see you Monday. Your Sunday, maybe. Bye-bye.